is up, Spurs fans? Welcome to Spurs and Hoops. We had to get on tonight and do a little bit of a game night react after that game that we just saw between the Spurs and the Portland Trailblazers. Man, my emotions were all over the place during this one. I was texting my brother the entire game. And, I think we're a little scarred from last season and the previous seasons. We're just going back and forth in the third quarter. We're like, yeah, this game's over. Like by the beginning of the fourth, you just thought this game was over because if we're talking about the Spurs from the past few years, this is a game they would have definitely lost and lost big time. We would have seen the bench in toward the last, latter 6 minutes of the game if this were last season, but it's not last season. This is a new Spurs team. I'm full of hope right now after the Spurs just won. If you were looking at following me on X, please do follow us on X. You can find us at Spurs and Hoops. But if you're following me on X, you see the array of emotions. And we're gonna go over some takeaways from tonight's game, some reaction to tonight's game. What did we do well? What did we not do well? And we're going to get into it by first taking a look at some stats tonight. But before we do, if you have not subscribed to Spurs and Hoops, I ask that you do that right now. I greatly appreciate it. It's all about Spurs fandom here on this channel, and we love our San Antonio Spurs. I have loved this team since I was a kid, so as long as I can remember. Maybe, I don't know, 6, 7 years old. As long as I knew what a basketball was, I have been following this team. I love this team. I bleed silver and black. So just so you understand what it's all about here, we're going to go over some stats tonight, and then we're going to share some thoughts about the game. What did we do well tonight? The fourth quarter, and the first quarter, right? We had a fantastic first quarter, had a fantastic fourth quarter. Somewhere there in the middle of the game, we kind of fell asleep on defense. We really, really let this dude get out of hand. Jeremy Grant played 38 minutes tonight, 12 of 19, shot 63% from the field, 80 freaking percent from the three-point line. He's 8 of 10 from the three-point line tonight. That dude could not miss. And I've seen this trend with the Spurs. When somebody gets hot on another team, I don't know what it is, but we just I think because we try to play that team defense, team oriented defense, the normal rotations, which is fine, and that's a way to be consistent. But some nights when we have a player going off like tonight with Jeremy Grant, you have got to put sometimes two bodies on that player, and you've got to key in on that player. You cannot perform your normal rotations. You have to smother that player. And tonight we should have smothered Jeremy Grant in the third quarter before he erupted. As soon as three pointers fall, okay, that's enough. We got to smother this dude. We have to make sure he does not get the ball. And I think that is something we did not do well tonight, and we really allowed him to get the entire Trailblazers team in sync. Like what Sean Elliott said tonight, he said when bad shooting is contagious, right? You start shooting the ball badly. We've seen this with the Spurs. Shots are not falling. It's contagious, but it's also contagious when shots are falling. And we've seen this with our own team, right? Somebody catches fire. Vassell tonight starts catching fire. Then Julian catches fire. And then the team starts catching fire together. And this is what happened with the freaking Trailblazers third quarter. They just could not miss. Three-pointers were falling. And then we had this dude, Adija. How do you say it? Avdija. Denis Avdija. This dude, I don't know why, he just annoys the heck out of me. He shot 63%, 1 of 3 from the field, from the three-point line. I mean, he just had very impactful points, and he had 19 points altogether. Shot very well from the field, and he was a beast tonight. He was a monster getting to the basket, and we didn't have an answer there for a bit. Between him, Simmons, and Grant, and a little bit of Sharp, man, we were reeling there for a bit. I was very, very nervous. So our some of our best games this year have been in the third quarter, right, where we have really addressed that third quarter issue that we had last season, right? We suffered in that third quarter a lot last season. It was a it was a demon to us, man. We had to figure out a way to conquer that. We have done so much better, but this game in particular against the Trailblazers did get away from us in the third quarter. But luckily, we did pull out the victory, and I am so excited that we got this game. And again, final score tonight 118 to 116. Finishing it off with two free throws from Wembenyama there at the end. Now, before we get into the stats, let's talk about the refereeing tonight. Man, Chris Paul, first quarter, gets two technical fouls, gets ejected from the game. Oh my gosh, I don't know what exactly. I want to see. I'm sure we'll be able to figure it out, or Chris might even say it during an interview. I don't know what he told the referees, but he pissed them off. You could tell immediately. Chris got the tee, got ejected from the game, and then he got the second tee while they were there at the free throw line. And the referees after that, look, I tweeted it on X. Be sure you're following as I do game night reactions throughout the night as the game is going on X. Be sure you're following us there. But I tweeted it out. The refs are human beings. I don't care. I know they have a job to do, but they have emotions. They feel things. And whatever was said between Chris Paul and the referees, they took it personal. And they took it out on the Spurs all night. We had another technical foul called on Vassell. Ridiculous. We had several ridiculous ticky-tack calls called on the Spurs, and then we were getting fouled all over the place and nothing was being called. I was getting so frustrated. I know the team was getting frustrated. There was a play right at the end of the third quarter when things were not going well. Wemby drove to the basket. He got fouled. And then he got frustrated and he was complaining. While he was complaining, the Blazers were taking off running in transition and they scored another basket right there at the end of the third quarter. Wemby's got to learn to not do that. And I think the team would have to stay poised, which we did. We came back in the fourth. We gained our composure and we finished off the game. But in those moments, we've got to stay poised. I told my brother, who is Danny Sanders, right? Dr. Danny Sanders, if you guys know him on Spurs X. I told him, I was like, Wemby cannot do this. That he's being soft in those moments. He's got to keep that killer mentality. I know he's complaining, but he's got to get back in the play. If he stays on the other side while the Trailblazers are running in transition, we are one man down. So we have to remain composed in those moments, which I think we are learning and will continue to learn from those moments. But yeah, the referees were incredibly. The refs almost cost us the game. If we did not have that epic run here in the fourth quarter, yeah, the refs definitely cost us some points tonight for certain. So let's go over tonight's stats. Who played the most minutes tonight? Let's take a look. We've got Harrison Barnes. Veteran Harrison Barnes. They're just playing him. 34 minutes, 19 seconds, right? So 50% from the field, 4 of 8, 2 3-pointers, 50% from 3-point, for a total of 10 points. I was talking to somebody on X earlier, and, you know, we've seen the statistics throughout the season. The team flows as HB flows, right? So when you notice that HB, keep this in mind, when HB has double figures, tonight 10 points, we will normally win the ball game. Check that out and keep track of it. When he doesn't score in double digits, it usually results in a loss. And that is how much of an impact that HB has on the game. Jeremy Sohan, 6 of 9, 15 points. How many rebounds? 5 rebounds. He was so impactful. 2 steals, 3 assists, 1 block. He was one of those guys in the fourth quarter that just brought that energy, brought that intensity. Every team needs a Jeremy Sohan type player. I don't care. When you look at the final score, when you look at the final stats, it doesn't tell the full story. Sohan got in there when we needed him the most, when the Trailblazers were just knocking down shots. His defense, his intensity, it threw the team off balance. He got into their heads. He got into Simmons' head, and he threw him off of his game, which resulted in our comeback on this game. So Jeremy Sohan, I think, was one of the highlights of tonight. Obviously, Victor Wembanyama, 2 for 6, 33% from the 3 point line. How about that? Only shot 6 3 pointers. You know what? I like that. I like that. 2 for 6. 33%. I mean, that's pretty on par. But tonight, what I did like from Wemby, you saw it very often. He was going to the basket. He was posting up a lot. There was nobody that could guard him on the inside. I love that last play of the game where they set him up in isolation right in the center of the court. We saw a lot of this where he was roaming the paint, wasn't necessarily looking for the 3 point shot tonight, and I thought that benefited the team very well. And he had a great game, a nice balanced game coming in with Wemby, man, 28 points. Only had to make 2 3 pointers, still scored 28 points, 2 blocks, 7 assists, 7 rebounds. So, a fantastic game. And what I love about this, 100% from the free throw line. I love that. Free throws, 10 of 10 from the free throw line. He got to the line, he made his free throws. And what happened to Vassell tonight, man, with the free throws, man? That's not typical for Vassell, but he did not have such a great night from the free throw line. He was 1 of 4 from free throw line. So there you go, man. Julian Champagnie. Julian. Man, Julian had a huge game, especially there in that fourth quarter, coming in 50% from the 3 point line. 5 for 10, man. 50% from field goal tonight. He had a nice little mid-range jumper in the game. He just contributed. I think Chauncey Billups. He was getting on Chauncey Billups' nerves, and Chauncey even told him something. But man, what a fantastic game from Julian. I've been hard on Julian, man. He comes in finishing with 19 points. I've been hard on him, especially at the beginning of the season. He hadn't shown us much of anything until this season. And this season in particular, man, he is coming up big in big moments. These are shots that I don't know. Maybe I mean it comes with the evolution of the team, more space on the floor. But he has just taken it to another level this season. And I gotta give Julian flowers, man. 30 minutes played tonight, 50%, 19 points, excellent game. Chris Paul, you disappointed us tonight, my friend. Now you know what? I like the intensity, the tenacity from Chris Paul. Got ejected right in the first quarter. Probably something he shouldn't have been ejected for. But again, we got to hear and see what what it was that he said to the refs in that first quarter. But only played 10 minutes tonight. Blake Wesley had a lot of playing time tonight with Chris Paul out, 25 minutes. Only scored 8 points. 8 assists though, and he did bring a lot of energy. 2 of 2 from the free throw line. So Blake Wesley had a pretty nice game. Devin Vassell, we just talked about his night at the free throw line. Not impressive, but I tell you what was impressive was everything else, man. Vassell was a key part to tonight's victory. Devin Vassell finishing off with 23 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Man, the dude was on fire. 4 of 7 from the 3 point line. He was the spark that we needed. And it's time to talk about getting Vassell back into the starting lineup because he needs to, and you see it toward the end of the game, he's in the rotation with the closers, and the closers are normally going to be your starting lineup. Sohan needs to get inserted back into the starting lineup. Minutes restriction, he's already back up to 30 minutes, played 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 25 seconds tonight. So definitely stepping in the right direction. So this does beg the question with his minutes going up to 30 minutes. I mean, I don't know. Is the coaching staff trying to keep him out of the starting lineup? Are they wanting to keep him as a spark off the bench? Maybe right now in particular because Keldon is out and Castle is out. Maybe, and I really do hope it's temporary because I do think that Vassell needs to be in the starting lineup. I think it should be CP, Vassell, Sohan, Wemby, and Castle. And I do think that I love Harrison Barnes. The team goes as he goes. But I think him coming off the bench with Keldon along with Bassie, that would be a nice little punch right there and get some Mamu minutes in there as well. And Bassie tonight did play 13 minutes, almost 14 minutes, and he came in, brought energy, man. He does what he does. Came in 4 of 7, he gave us 8 points. What did he have? 1 block, 4 rebounds, That is a solid night for 13 minutes. So impressive night from Charles Bassey. I'm always impressed because he brings the energy. He doesn't give up. If you're watching the Spurs call tonight, it's like Sean said, he just doesn't give up on the play. He got some very key rebounds and a putback in the, I think it was end of the third or beginning of the fourth. Impactful minutes. So these 13 minutes, 56 seconds that he played, impactful. 57% from the field. So a lot to look at tonight, to feel positive about. As I'm looking at these stats, man, some guys really stepped up tonight in the place of Chris Paul, particularly Vassell, particularly Wesley. Love the minutes from Bassey with Collins out again tonight, Keldon out tonight. So, man, wonderful win. How did you guys feel about tonight's game? Were your emotions going crazy like mine were? Tell me the truth. Did you think we were going to win this ball game? Because I will be completely honest with you. I really thought that this was going to be a loss. And I am impressed with the outcome tonight. I'm impressed with the fact that we kept our poise. Because, like I said, the body language in the third quarter did not look good, guys. And I really did. There was a point there where I was thinking, yeah, we're not pulling this out. This is not happening. It felt like the body language was off. I tell my brother several times, Wemby sometimes gets possessed with the spirit of LaMarcus Aldridge. Spurs fans, you know what I'm talking about. LaMarcus used to just run around and sometimes just shrug his shoulders, and it just didn't seem like he cared. And sometimes I feel like Wemby gets into that zone, but then he finishes in clutch time, and you're like, maybe it's all in my head. So Wemby just had an outstanding game. I want to see that fire, that intensity. Is it just me, or last year in his rookie season, did it feel like he just brought the energy, the intensity every night? You just saw him roaring, and we were losing so much more. I don't know. Maybe it's just he's more focused, and now he's got vets present. That he maybe he's just not showing that emotion like he was, and maybe we mistake that for fire and passion. But I mean, he had a solid night. Almost had a triple-double tonight. I mean, looking real quick just at the Trailblazer stats. Jeremy Grant. That was the story of the night. 80%, man. 32 points. And Simmons with the 30 points. Simmons and Grant just killed us. It's 62 points combined from the two of them. Yeah, and then Avdija, I don't know. That dude just annoys me. Yeah, came off with some really good minutes, really good points there. 19 points. But at the end of the night, Spurs get the victory, y'all. I love it. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. I will try to do as many of these game night reacts as I can. I appreciate y'all watching. And Spurs go, baby.